that he saw nothing and yet chose to say that he had seen something. So this is not a matter of if you see something, say something. This is a clear case of a member of parliament who we are told is a reverend minister deciding to peddle falsehood.
Abusia for my movie be akwa ene die na enya asem ketwa kra ewo something lady ni show news file ewo Joy News. In fact, na pressure no anu shi. The moment Rev Ntim Fodjour any yewra Sammy Gyamfi in fact clash ye no na ensema PPM ba no enya asem ketwa ni na eye Rev Ntim Fodjour ni claims ochiremu an gold mukan saying money laundering any cocaine bi ebelande wo Ghana ai wi achirewura no provide evidence akwakoye boachi bidin na Sammy Gyamfi bisa se wura ade na odi ntrosa ade na sebi unye hu asema na wo kan na wo ye reverend oye reverend ampa edi ntia obetumi di sa ntro kese we yenko na yenko tie nsema Sammy Gyamfi any Rev Ntim Fodjour how umusi exchange words na nye easy na no eshi papa na meso say obe subscribe to the channel na like it no dey wa share na afensu yemfa credit e ma Joy News omo na mo boy nya sansem bi edbeso mo yenko tie nsem bi yekoba ebeto aso
that he saw nothing and yet chose to say that he had seen something. So this is not a matter of if you see something, say something. This is a clear case of a member of parliament who we are told is a reverend minister deciding to peddle falsehood, deciding to lie about a government, and having been exposed is now making a mockery of himself. I mean, you listen to him. You listen. Please, when you were talking, I was quiet.
I will not sit here for derogatory comments to come from my respected friend.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Nobody has made any derogatory comments.
You speak to the
I am saying that
and keep the sanctity
you have peddled falsehood against the government of Ghana.
I've not peddled any falsehood.
So let me demonstrate how you peddled falsehood. So keep quiet.
No flag came from Rwanda.
Maza, keep quiet.
So you have peddled falsehood.
Let's have a very decorous discussion. When you were speaking, I was here. And you've had ample time to make your case. Show viewers and listeners the same respect.
But keep
that
it
I've
decorous.
I'm saying that you peddled falsehood. He's sitting here saying that they had suspicions. And they put out the suspicions, asking questions and, soliciting explanations from the government. Number one, you don't hold press conferences based on suspicions. That is reckless, that is irresponsible. This country is a serious country. You cannot wake up in the morning because you are hungry or you overate and said, I have this suspicion. So I hold a press conference and require law enforcement agencies to investigate your suspicions? You think that is what our security agencies are there for?
He said he was engaged in oversight duties as a member of parliament. But
oversight duties is not about raising suspicions. That is irresponsibility. That is recklessness.
You can't ask questions.
When you are exercising oversight, you exercise oversight based on facts. Even if you have suspicions, the suspicions must have some basis. You've not done you didn't do any checks, you didn't provide any information. And you are talking about suspicions that you require state security agencies to spend taxpayers' money in investigating suspicions? That speaks volumes of this whole matter. It speaks volumes about your own credibility. But in any case, Samson, I submit to you that his press conference did not allege suspicions and did not invite state security agencies to investigate suspicions. He is lying again because he has been caught pants down.
You have a copy of the press conference.
We played the portion that you spoke about.
Are you a reverend minister?
Let me have it
Isn't
again. I want to read a specific portion again to him. Yes, go on.
Look,
go on.
I am reading a quote from his press conference, and this quote was reported by My Joy Online. This is a direct quote, and I want to read that to you. There is no evidence, this is quote Ntim Fodjour speaking, there is no evidence of any medical referral or patient on board, speaking about that ambulance aircraft. Rather, our intelligence, not suspicion, our intelligence suggests that the aircraft was used to smuggle illicit cargo, unquote. Where is suspicion? Why do you lie like that? Is this, did you allege suspicion here? You are talking about intelligence. What is intelligence? Intelligence means that you have been given, you have received credible information about the existence of some facts or a certain situation, and you are saying that because of that, you think that these aircrafts which arrived in Ghana were used to smuggle illicit substances. You made mention of cocaine, you made mention of cash relative to money laundering and so on. Categorical allegations. Now the President of the Republic says, okay, I want to give you an opportunity to share this intelligence you have with the state security agencies so that they can investigate it. I mean, if you don't share the intelligence with the state security agencies, where should they start their investigations from? So what any responsible lawmaker exercising oversight would have done would be to say, thank you, Mr. President. I will, voluntarily, or I will happily honor the invitation of any state security agency tasked to investigate this matter.
Samson, ask him.
Yet you,
where the invitation Chief, 5 days now.
Chief, I think that you are being disruptive. I think you are being disruptive. I think you are being disruptive. I think you are being disruptive. Allow me to make my point. I think you are being disruptive. So you should have been happy about the invitation extended to you to adduce the intelligence you have so that the state security agencies can do what you're calling on them to do.
It's been said that by Felix Kwachiofosu that it was security called Afenyo Marking to make Reverend available. He denies that. And Felix is saying that he had sought to, Afenyo Marking replied back that because what he was doing was an oversight job, they may have to go through the speaker. So now National Security is going to write to the speaker to invite him in the same way that they have invited A+ and Mustafa.
But even though they are not accessing oversight, simply fundamentally, if you are inviting a member of parliament, even without oversight, that's a procedure. If you are inviting a member of parliament, even if he spoke from his garden egg farm on any matter that requires invitation, you don't call somebody, whether he's leader, you go by procedure. Had anybody used that procedure? It has even nothing to do about that.
Yes.
Listen.
You have no invitation, yet you lied.
Are you listening? Are you listening to yourself?
No.
You,
get to the
a law-abiding citizen, a member of parliament, who claims to be exercising oversight, you say you have intelligence that certain aircrafts came into Ghana smuggling illicit substances. You even need an invitation before you go and adduce that intelligence?
That's why I wrote.
Maza, that is why I wrote. You have proven to be totally reckless and irresponsible.
That's why on 2nd of
and if you had a conscience,
why did you block that invitation?
If you had a conscience, you will be apologizing for that lie.
Why did you?
You'll be apologizing for that lie. You are just proven to be a liar and reducing the presidency.
Thank you.
I'm not done.
Hold on.
No, something. No, I think
that you hold on.
Allow the security to do their job.
Reverend Fodjour, in your press statement in paragraph 1, you said that the Air Med flight and Havoc Air private jet transporting suspected cocaine and cash. And then you went ahead to give the details of the flight and the time, the period they stayed in the country and so on and so forth. Do you know, as a member of parliament, that if I sat here and made this claim, or any Ghanaian sat anywhere and made these claims, by now they would be either in custody or they would be in court seeking bail for a trial?
Do you know that anyone behind the cocaine bust, $150 million, behind the $350 million cocaine bust, behind the money laundering and the 12 container filled with gold and cash, busted in the full glare of media by national security, among other things we are asking questions for, should have by now been arraigned before court.
That's correct.
Shouldn't we rather be more interested in that?
That does not excuse.
If they are interested in my
answer for the question I asked.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that at all.
But I ask you a specific question.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
Because
I have
this is a liar who has been caught.
If the priority of the government is to seal and protect drug cartels,
will not answer the
protect
question.
money launderers that they themselves have busted.
Those are different issues.
After members of parliament,
those are different issues
legitimately raising legitimate questions.
This is an allegation that you are raising, and we have to interrogate it.
Security agencies. From when are they gagging?
Especially that you say the government position is incorrect. We have to interrogate yours.
Because the government spokesperson. So
what should we do now? What should we do now?
The government spokesperson.
What should we do about what you have put out in the public? What should we do about it?
Please, the government spokesperson said that this investigation directed by President Mahama, he didn't mean it.
Let's not repeat these things.
And that it was only meant to make an example.
I'm asking you, what do you want to be done now?
They should go ahead and make an example of me.
What do you want to be done now?
They should go ahead and make an example of me.
You answer my question. What should be done about what you said now?
So let's move
what should be done now is for them to go ahead to say to do what they said they would do. To make an example of me and disregard the investigation that Ghanaians are calling.
You don't admit that you don't admit that you did any wrong. You don't admit that you did any wrong.
There's no wrongdoing. There's no wrongdoing whatsoever.
Is it okay for any citizen to speak about suspicions?
What is suspicion?
And speak about them publicly without talking to the security about it?
So since when did it become practice that when a member of parliament is exercising the parliamentary tools? We have a lot of parliamentary tools. One, the media is one. Raising urgent questions is one. Filing ordinary questions is one. Filing oral questions is one. Calling legitimate, relevant agencies before the committee is one. I have used 2 of these tools in exercising this matter. And so if you consider it wrong, let the jury add their judge.
The contest is that after you made a press conference, and you became aware that you may have done wrong.
I've not done any wrong. Can I ask you a question? That is your conclusion.
I'm asking you a question.
There's no wrong.
Please, can I ask a question, please? After you made the claims in the public, and you discovered that you were going to be a subject potentially of prosecution and jail, then you decided belatedly, perhaps having been advised by lawyers,
that is false.
To now try to use the Defense and Interior Committee to ask for the security to come and brief you. Otherwise, that ought to have been your first step.
I take strong exception to that, Samson. The reason why I wrote to calling for the joint meeting was because I respected the directive given by President
Should that not have preceded your press conference?
Nothing should have preceded what we did.
Thank you very much.
There was nothing inappropriate. But let me respond.
Kofi, what did you want to say?
The strong assertion.
Hold on.
I have not done any wrong.
Quickly, hold on.
And it is false what you are accusing.
Kofi,
you should rather tell them to do the right thing.
What did you want to say?
When the state is threatened, it is really sad that the issue becomes partisan. If we didn't have the kind of polarity we had, and somebody says or suspects that something like this has happened, and note that drug trafficking goes to personal gain and national ruin. I think that if things were better, with the security agencies to just investigate it, not because some wrong has been done, but for the facts to be clear.
Kofi, what he did, would you advise him to have done that as a lawyer? Would you have advised him to go public and speak about suspicion and belatedly go to seek to ask for a briefing by the security or to the Committee of Defense?
No, please.
Let me answer.
I'm asking you a question.
Your claim is wrong. That's not what I did.
Boss, you went to the press.
Please, your claim is wrong.
You wrote to the committee.
Samson, I disagree with you.
You went to the press on the 1st.
Samson, I disagree
with you. Your letter to the committee
this
was
about
on the
5
2nd.
And you are wrong. I keep prompting you.
Reverend.
When a member of parliament raises the question.
Reverend.
And you
have told us here. Reverend, hold on. You held your press conference on the 1st of April, correct?
In Parliament.
Thank you. Correct?
In Parliament.
1st of April, correct? And then you wrote your letter on the 2nd of April, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Kofi.
So that letter is in response to the directive given by President Mahama. If President Mahama
you are asking for the security to come to your committee and brief you.
President Mahama said we should collaborate.
We have heard you.
Let the substance of the matter not be lost.
Kofi, my question to you now is that
must be investigated.
I'll come to you. Hold on. Kofi, my question
asking legitimate questions for investigation.
Would you have advised him to go to the press before President Mahama reacts, then he writes to the committee, because that even gets it bad for him. That, but for President Mahama writing, he would not have asked the committee to ask the security protocol and brief them.
When I, in the previous government, got credible information that Achimota Forest was being prepared for sale, credible information, I went to the public.
You had credible information?
Credible information.
What do you mean by credible information?
I had information that convinced me that there were preparations afoot to sell Achimota Forest.
Did you see evidence of it?
I had credible information.
Did you see evidence of it?
The information I had was credible enough, but it does not qualify as evidence. Let me finish.
If you were held to prove,
wait,
hold on.
Let me make my point.
No,
you asked the question. Let me answer.
Again, you are a lawyer.
I would digress.
Reverend Ntim Fodjour, sorry.
Let me answer the question. I will get there.
Kofi Bento, you know the basic principle.
I know.
He who alleges must prove. So if you had made that claim and you were asked to prove it, how were you going to prove it?
That is why I'm giving you the example. He who alleges must prove. You know as a lawyer that there are times when, depending on the circumstance, the burden of proof shifts. And
when does it shift? When does it shift?
My brother, you want a law lecture, or let me answer the question. When I finish, you can choose to. I said, I'm using the example of Achimota Forest.
Just tell me, would you have advised him to do what he did?
I wouldn't advise somebody to do that, but in this space.
Why wouldn't you advise him to have done that?
Let me answer my question, please. Listen, you are dealing with a national issue. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm saying if you would not have advised him to do that, then the position is that he did wrong. No, that's not my position. That's why I'm giving you my example that when I put out the information about Achimota Forest, I was threatened with arrest and etc. I had my credible information. And look, if you Google Kofi Bento goof today, you will see MPP people blasting me online and saying that I didn't have information because I told.
Do I hear you say?
No.
Do I hear you say? Hold on.
Don't let me finish.
No, it's important. You finish.
I'm saying there are times. There are times when
you don't let us.
Do I hear you say? We are all at liberty to speak to suspicion, the way he did at the start, and up to today he can't give any evidential proof, and we should stay at that. And if the state gives a counter position, we should still deny and say it is fake, and we should be okay with it in the country.
The counter position is the official position. At this point, he cannot say he's denied it, except he has other information. But the position of putting out information which he suspects and which he has credible information, I'm saying that, look, my brother here, the president sitting in his office may not know everything going on everywhere. But you have a situation where when some of these things happen, people see it as an attack on them. That's what I'm saying. The nationalistic view will be, look, let us find out what the truth of this matter is. Because we have this history, like Prof. Eni was telling you, where this country has been slipping and we are making some kind of, recovery. Let's not go back. It may be one or two persons trying to do something wrong. So, where there is credible information, and it can be proven not to be credible, we leave it. I take the information that the state has given me. But I worry because, you see, in a sense, it's the system that is being accused. What will it hurt? That's why I started by saying if we didn't have a polarized partisan atmosphere, to include the minority side of parliament and let the security services go into it. Aircraft movement information is historical and is very meticulous. Let's just lay it out to his satisfaction, other people's satisfaction, and put out the information not in a one-sided way.
Yeah, you have said this. You have said this already. Members of parliament, the minority, for example, in their oversight duty, should be holding press conferences and speaking about suspicions.
No.
Before.
No. No. There is a process in parliament. There is a way to do it. Okay? What I'm saying, something, is that, look, sometimes you can say, this is wrong, this is right. It is not always that it is black or white. There should have been a better way. I do think that the committee he occupies in parliament should have the wherewithal to, behind the scenes, go to the state authorities and say, hey, this is what we found. What do you think about it?
Okay.
And then, in a way, find a way to satisfy everybody that this is not what is happening.
Thank you.
We should get to the point where this becomes not necessary.
Thank you. Now, sorry I truncated your submission. Let's hear you now.
Mr. Kofi Bento is a lawyer. And he knows that spreading false information in Ghana is a crime. He knows that.
No one has spread any false information.
So you cannot say that anybody can wake up any day, put out any information, and if we don't have a polarized partisan system, we are supposed to investigate that. When the person
I didn't say that.
does not adduce any basis or evidence to substantiate that claim,
I didn't say that.
or to even necessitate an investigation.
Sammy.
What you are doing is that you are defending the indefensible.
Sammy, you know
you are
that.
justifying something which
Sammy,
is totally wrong.
Sammy, you know that.
Something.
No,
At least, you see,
hold on.
At least you have given every panel member
Hold on.
some
I get
time
that.
to
I get
make their
that.
point.
Then listen to
if
my
you
question.
can give me 2-3
Hear my
minutes
question.
before
Hear
your
my
questions
question.
come,
Hear my
it will
question.
help.
Hear my
Because you
question.
cannot ask
Hear
me
my
a
question.
question
Hear
or
my
truncate
question.
me after every sentence.
I'm not truncating you. Hear
You don't
this.
have a lot of things to say. They said a lot of things.
I'll let you say that. So, you know that acts of corruption, drug deals,
Yes.
they happen in the underworld.
Yes.
It's difficult to prove them.
Yes.
So sometimes, or most often, it is suspicion that is triggered for the investigation to happen.
My brother, it is not suspicion that is triggered for investigations to happen. And we are not talking about suspicions here. Let's not overly dwell on the word suspicion. I read a direct quote from their press conference to you. They alleged that they had credible intelligence.
But the press release is right before you. You are reading from somewhere else.
Stop being a nuisance. Your constituents
I
are
take
watching
exception
you.
to that.
You are disgracing yourself.
I take
Stop
exception to
being
that
a nuisance. It is not your time to speak.
I take exception to that derogatory. I can imagine your discomfort.
You are
Who are you
Allow
covering?
me to speak and stop this.
The cocaine and the money laundering. Who are you covering?
Look, I can
imagine your discomfort.
Rev Ntim, better than you.
Can you
Stop
let
being
him
a
speak?
nuisance.
Okay.
I can imagine your discomfort.
You
stated categorically that you have intelligence.
I will not accept
It's okay.
Now you are here. If you are a law-abiding citizen, you care about Ghana. You love Ghana.
You said more terrible things when you were in opposition.
True, the allegations
now we are
you
calling
made,
you to investigate.
the allegations you made. At least you would have shared that intelligence with the people of Ghana. And you see, the impudence. He has the temerity to dictate to government who should speak for government. He says that the official spokesperson of government cannot speak to this matter.
Because he lied.
Who then should speak on this matter? What has Felix said, which you have proven to be a lie here? He's giving you the numbers of all the aircrafts, the dates they arrived. He told you that they had landing permits. He told you what they were carrying. He told you the number of days they had to stay at the Kotoka International Airport. He gave you the reason. But where did you get this guy?
Check the money.
What is the meaning of this?
Take that in.
I have never seen anybody be this disruptive on news file.
Okay.
What is the meaning of this? Look, so he has given you all the details, and he has demonstrated to you that these aircrafts were here for legitimate reasons. They went through thorough security inspection by aviation security, by national security, by the national, by the narcotics, NACOC. All these state security institutions inspected these aircrafts, and nothing untoward has been done. He has told you where they went from here. He has given you the numbers. You can track the aircrafts. What again do you want to hear before you know that this man is lying? Because he has not given you any evidence at all. And he says that state security agencies should investigate suspicions. And Kofi Bentel is supporting him.
Hey.
His suspicions that he's not able to substantiate. This can only happen in Ghana.
What do you call
in other jurisdictions, this guy would have been blacklisted.
Look,
when we were in opposition and we were criticizing the dense NPP government, we always adduce evidence to substantiate our allegations. And that is why we were never... Look, the only time I was arrested on the allegation that I had published false information, the matter didn't travel beyond 2 hours. I was picked from the premises of UTV on grounds that I had published false information. I went to the CID, they asked me, I provided the evidence. Matter ended. You are here. You've made spurious claims. You are talking about intelligence in your possession, in your knowledge, to the effect that certain aircrafts were smuggling illicit substances. You don't have any evidence. He's here, and you are entertaining him. You have no conscience, you have no shame, you are an embarrassment to your party, you are an embarrassment to your constituency, and it is only in the country like ours that you will be entertained. And this is something I want to say this.
You are
if this guy does not honor the invitation of national security
to do
on
that
this
job,
matter,
Sammy here.
Call them to come and arrest me right here.
I'm coming. I'm saying that if he doesn't honor the invitation,
Sammy, I dare you to call them to come and arrest me right here on the show.
He can hide behind his parliamentary privileges. He lied bad because he will be arrested.
Drug dealers.
Some of us will insist that he's arrested, and you must substantiate that.
When you
drug dealers and arrest
protocol you follow. That protocol must be followed.
We will follow it.
That's all.
And we will get to him. We will follow it. It's just a matter of time.
But here.
Every day for thief man, one day for master. Your cup is full. Your time has come.
Your cup
that
is
you
full.
hold one press
Your
conference.
cup is full. Your cup of cocaine.
And the mind of the
cup of
government
is full. Your cup of money laundering.
And my greatest disappointment. Look at the way.
Your cup of money laundering.
Welcome back. This is Newsfile, it's your most authoritative news analysis platform. On Newsfile, we don't enjoy shouting matches. What we want is to deal with the facts about a particular issue. The panelists have agreed that each one of them is going to speak for 2 minutes and no one is going to interrupt the other. And I have a difficult job. I'm not supposed to interrupt anyone. But I have read over this and prepared. If somebody is churning falsehood within the 2 minutes, what should I do? Should I shut up and watch them? And if there is problem, this entity will also suffer? I'm hoping that they will be gentlemen and deal with facts. Professor Ntim, having heard from this table, what do you say is the way forward?
Well, so the way forward, Samson, is about rebuilding trust, respect, and collegiality centered on what makes Ghana work best. Because this conversation this morning is a conversation that takes place in all parliamentary democracies, where the opposition gets access to quote the Reverend, credible intelligence, but that intelligence is not put first into the public domain. The opposition or any member of parliament can then invite the minister. So there are 7 procedures or processes. Either questions to the minister, motions on the floor, statements. At the end of the year, they can be part of the report. Then they can also check whether the security agencies are doing their work well through the quarterly expenditure returns. And of course, they can make visits. So during this process, my younger brother, Reverend Ntim, can, together with his committee, have visited, either the specific security institutions or the airport. And then there are subcommittees of which he knows that can also take the matter up. But something more importantly for me is that in playing our oversight roles, there are 3 things that I think we should always be conversant with. One is the authority that Parliament has that derives from the 1992 Constitution and also the standing orders of Parliament and other legislation. The second is the ability of this committee, of which Rev Ntim Fodjour is a member. The ability, that is the capacity of his committee to hold government accountable over the security sector. And it's a combination of the resources available, the human, financial, and the technical. Finally, relates to the attitude of all parliamentarians, but for the purposes of this conversation.
So this matter is worthy of further pursuit?
Yes.
Thank you.
Because that is his job. But there's an attitudinal aspect to it. You see, the attitude referring to the political will towards the whole idea of oversight. So the question is, how should Reverend Ntim Fodjour and his committee handle this case elevating it over and above partisan politics.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
And it creates this problem that Sammy Gyamfi is then responding.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you. Thank you, Reverend. Reverend, now the overwhelming view by the public is that seeing that you are in opposition and you don't seek the good of the NDC, if you really had any evidence, a shred of it, a scintilla of it, nobody would have asked you to put it out, and nobody would have asked you to contact the security and give it to them. How do you answer to that charge?
No, but the concern my uncle, Professor Enin, raised, I've already addressed it. We are in recess. When you are in recess, you don't wait till 2 months before you file an urgent question on a pressing matter. You don't wait after 2 months before you ask certain questions on the floor of Parliament. This was one of the credible tools legitimately available to the minority, and we so advisedly, in absolute circumspection, used it and brought these matters for answers, for investigations. Now, the presidency gagging the security agencies from doing their work of dispassionately investigating and communicating outcome to the public, and hijacking communication of these specific security matters go to suggest there's something they will be hiding, particularly when the information put out there by Okwache Fosu regarding with the purpose of
You've done a minute without responding to my question.
And no, please, and the purpose why they came in and where they came from were inaccurate. They didn't come from Rwanda, they didn't come from Angola, Gran Canaria, and straight. So when you put out this false information, it goes to suggest that there is a reason why you are disallowing the security agencies from undertaking their investigations and putting out their credible information out there. So the reason why we used a press conference was because Parliament was on recess.
You have evidence, but you want to give it to the security, is that it?
I have told you what we have. And clearly, after we even wrote further to request for them to meet,
you've told me what you have. You haven't told me what you have. What do you have?
For us, you want me to tell you on your show? You want me to tell you so and so on your show?
The onus is on you.
To give you on your show?
You are being labeled as a liar right now.
No, I'm not a liar. They are liars. So you want me to give you something? This is my evidence, so and so. Sammy Gyamfi, this is my evidence. Is that how you adduce evidence?
If you could put this information out in the public, you should better put the evidence out.
No, that advice is not taken. Thank you very much, Samson. But
okay, thank you.
But the logic that national security apparatus should not be allowed to take interest in investigating such matters and be allowed to lead the communication. And the assertion from presidency
30 minutes. Thank you. 30 seconds. Yes,
they are not interested.
Kofi,
all right.
Kofi, how do we proceed? How do we proceed? Thank you. We agreed on this. Kofi, how do
they are hiding something.
Thank you.
But there are other agencies who are investigating. They are interested.
Kofi, let's hear you. Let's hear you. It's your turn.
National security issues are bipartisan issues. We've had problems under all parties. When these things arise, I would think that Reverend and Co. should handle it first within Parliament in the Security Committee, and they should link up with the security agencies and try and deal with it. But we all know that sometimes there are partisan pools in this thing, and then it may become necessary, for you to maybe bring it out and maybe raise it or whatever it is. But the point I want to make is this: it is not good for any of us when these things degenerate like they've degenerated this morning. And so I would wish that when we see some of these problems, let both parties come together and establish the truth. None of us benefits. Drug dealing, all these things, they are for private benefit and national ruin.
What do you suggest? How do you go about establishing the truth here?
Within Parliament.
How?
When he has this information, the parliamentary committee, whatever it is, they have the way of summoning, even in camera, put the information there, discuss it, make the effort. That's what I'm saying. Be nationalistic about it. When it comes out like this, it's a partisan thing. But let's be clear here. Under both parties, we've had a slippage in drug dealing, in all of the, under both parties. And the people who do them don't necessarily have the sanction of the politicians. But when the problem comes, it becomes partisan, then they defend. My worry is that just like it's happened here, it will be happening in other places, and then they slip through. And when it degenerates, we will all suffer for it. So national security issues are bipartisan. When he mentioned the issue of the cocaine, over 10 containers of gold and cash enter your country. You know what? Professor will tell you, where water can pass, air can pass. If that kind of thing can happen to your country, mercenaries can come here and take over your government. So look, let's not play with them. And it's really sad that they degenerate into partisan arguments. And there should be also no recklessness or point taking. If indeed somebody was landing plane loads of cocaine and things here, don't be taking any points on it because we are all at risk.
Okay.
So really, I'm hoping that we'll find a way to make this bipartisan. Parliament is the best.
Nonetheless, Reverend Ntim has not been reckless. You said there should be no recklessness.
No. You see,
he's not been reckless. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Not everything is a yes or no.
Thank you.
I hope he did better with it, but I don't know what kind of resistances and issues he
Thank you.
I have faced
Sammy, let's hear you.
Mr.
Sorry, don't intervene.
I'm sorry.
A
$500 million.
Reverend.
I'm
sorry, let's keep to the bargain. Sorry. Yes, let's hear you.
Something, it should be clear to any discerning mind out there that this issue is not an issue, is not a national security issue, which requires a bipartisan, approach or resolution.
I agree.
This is a clear case of disinformation gone bad. There's a clear case of a member of parliament who irresponsibly decided to concoct and fabricate a lie against the government of Ghana to court hatred and opprobrium for the government. And he has been exposed, he has been caught pants down. And it is very clear. He himself says that he was talking about mere suspicions.
Mere. What did I say that?
So, per his own confessions, he has no evidence worthy of interrogation or investigation. Again, per his own confessions, he has absolutely nothing to buttress or substantiate the allegations he has made. His Excellency the President, in a spirit of transparency and accountability, has directed the relevant state security agencies to investigate the matter, will go through the law, follow due process, and get him to appear. And should he fail to adduce evidence, he will face accountability. And that is something that we can guarantee him. So you see something? Let us stop endorsing recklessness like Kofi Bentil is doing.
And endorse cocaine.
Let us stop encouraging
and endorse money
people
laundering.
who set out to lie. If this was genuine, if there was some basis, we will all have said that, look, there is some basis for this allegation. Let's not dismiss it. Let's go and investigate it. We've all been in opposition before. But when somebody set out to concoct, fabricate non-existent issues, lies against a government, you don't come on air to entertain, encourage, or endorse that. So what he has done clearly is irresponsible. It must be condemned. And if he is still, if I were him, I would do what gentlemen do. Look, I got it wrong. I am sorry. Forgive me. That is all. You have your honor intact. But if you continue to insist, attacking people when you know you don't have the evidence, then what you are saying is that let's delve into the matters. And should we find that these allegations were malicious, frivolous, vexatious, and all that, and in breach of the laws of this country, you will be prosecuted because you are not above the law. And Afenyo Market will not be able to save you from accountability in this matter.
Sammy,
that you can be sure of.
Sammy, yes, so you're done with your time, but I need just a minute again with you.
Yeah.
He's raised suspicions.
Yeah.
The time these flights were leaving, we had a blackout at the airport. Some say that is curious. Like he has also raised 2 aircraft, both technical faults, around the same time. That's curious. Anybody who is well-meaning, who has come chance onto something like this, should raise an issue.
Okay, Samson, assuming without admitting that what you're saying is even wrong, right, that the circumstances surrounding the arrival or departure of this aircraft from Ghana is curious, okay, assuming that is the case. Curiosity is not the same as saying that I have intelligence that the said aircrafts were being used to smuggle illicit substances. That we are not talking about curiosity here. That's number one. Number two, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, who is the right person to speak on this matter. He has ultimate responsibility for government communications because all these state security agencies are part of an animal called government. And the overall spokesperson for that entity is Honorable Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, has given you the registration numbers of the various aircraft, true or false. He's giving you the time that they arrived in Ghana, why they had to overstay in Ghana. He has given you the time they left Ghana. He has given you, they have even shared with you pictures of the materials they were carrying. So if you, and he has told you that all the relevant security agencies inspected the aircraft.
One of the flights, the first flight was stopping for what he calls technical stop. And it was also
I think that one was the one which was stopping for screening.
Both he mentioned technical stop. Yeah. And he says that it needed this certification which is required for the European countries.
Scanning and screening.
Yes.
A certification necessary for the EU market.
It took off with the cargo. Yeah. Knowing that it needed this certification. Yeah. Why didn't he do it wherever it took off from? Why did he have to come to Ghana to do that?
But he has explained to you that where the flight took off from, that system is not available.
And Ghana is the nearest.
Yes, exactly. And for all you know, that is the standard practice.
Okay.
That is a lie.
Thank you.
Don't have flight.
We have heard you.
It's a lie.
Don't repeat it. We have heard you.
Yes. The normal practice.
Thank you. We are done.
Thank you. Lie on such transit various airports for one reason or the other.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That is standard practice.
Thank you, gentlemen. I want to be able to continue to refer to you guys as gentlemen, please. Please, gentlemen. Thank you. Reverend. Thank you. Thank you. And I have your messages here, and I'll share it with my guests and with the rest of the world. Gentlemen, please. Rev, thank you. All right, so Akilu Fantiakwa Begro says, Honorable Fodjour should just humble himself and admit that he got it wrong. Honorable Edutete says to Kofi, what back should we not go? What back should we not go? Is it not that it was happening, but previous government chose to hide it? That is why we didn't hear of it, and now government is tackling it head on. Ntim is running from his own words and now doing it personal with Kwache Ofosu. Ingoliba writes, Kofi Bentil is back again with politically infected, unpopular and legal opinions. Daniel YW Asari says, I think Ntim Fodjour is on the defensive now, and this is clear evidence of him coming to terms that he got all this wrong. He should be picked up at all cost. Nana Tevia says, Reverend Ntim Fodjour should produce evidence of his wild allegation. You can't peddle falsehood just to tarnish the image of the country. He who alleges has to prove.
So, Mega, one thing I like about Sammy Gyamfi, and he said, Urano Oyubia, Yakase, Yanuahu, Ewo communications, he is the perfect one. Among all the NDC communicators, Nina, Upobia, or yes, smart, Upobia, Obetimi, Adrebo, Upobia, Obetimi, Ayo, Star be or live television, Obetimi, more Yakitwa Kra, Sammy Gyamfi. Wow, what a best communicator. She did Sammy Gyamfi, is it tackle issue, no? Where how or see a cancer no more a year, not just a Rev Ntim Fodjour, what you want on who do you can. Why basa why some star be unhudioka. And it is sad. The Reverend Minister Unyum Wasem. Now sorry, you just make you just do a presser with intelligence of suspicious. I don't understand American. You can't just get up and do a presser with intention of suspecting BB. No, that is incorrect and that is wrong. It is a mistake. He must be arrested if he couldn't provide any solid and legit evidence to back up his claims. When to me, I was say the arresting, and I support Sammy Gyamfi. I fully support Sammy Gyamfi on this issue. Say was some wedding or more a chino. Because how can you lie in such a manner? A didn't hear was obey antron. A didn't hear sebi only evidence. Now Reverend Minister, when I will chase it, would church in Yankopon Sem. Ubet me babontin, no obey a presser, no disa and tron. I feel your banny be south evidence. I chase it, Sansem we are walking. Didn't ya see Debbie? Me, Mumbra me committee so. As a ranking member, defense and interior, Mumbra so na brief me. National security Mumbra. Ah, na ubu president John Mahama Sessin. And because of say president, a go no edima or say, oh, so why you side with ya, then let the law take its course by providing you NACOC, that is Narcotics Control Board, any omo kika NAB, CID, so mumbo na any investigation into no. Also feeling like you write a letter to them and they should come to your end so that they will brief you how on earth can this be happening. Let's be sincere for once. Let's be trustworthy for once. Dear ye papa, a member of parliament for Asin Central area, and yet the right. And yet the right thing. And yet the right thing. How can you who alleges what must prove? Obi obaka say, oh, I ne ho na ho na ho. I was so me omokwa ye hu ade kura na ho. I was say ye kwa ye di wonim na ye kwa ye hu di etue mu ye hu di eko. Enti se we nyina nkoba so a. Then utum futuro e de egu Ghana fo nyina ni. Then you are trying to tell Ghanaians say sebi yendwene sebi yenim de ye enti aban na na dwuma ekoso no e na sebi eyoya ana se din na ekoso. Yewura John Mahama ani ndi sabe o mo ahyehyɛ nneɛma yie a nneɛma ekoso yie na apɛsɛ udi ayi bi be say ana asesen endro minya strategy bi intel bi ana nkofo binum kan sim bi en me ankasa mega matena sia ya analysis ma hu sia ye no kore on say ECG issues yi on say akogu afenwoma akin any minority any MPP for so because afenwoma akin was a board member and a sergeant, he was even board chairman or ECG and a sergeant happened. So he should be called to a table wherever you want to resolve this issue. Afenwoma akin must be involved. Say arrest Afenwoma akin must be arrested. Rev Ntim Fodjour on 1st April wanted to fool Ghanaians. Listen to me well. Meaning say 1st April biano April Fool's Day. So Reverend Ntim Fodjour, in his own capability, in his own wisdom, he want to fool Ghanaians by bringing up that issue. Na ye na ya adwin afiri sa ECG. Won say she say ECG den ya adwin afiri so. Na Reverend Ntim Fodjour nsema na ye kan, of which say evidence bia, he just want to block that story. Na MPP for mo say wo mi ba Afenwoma akin no omunyo butendidim. And that is not fair. That is not fair. Enti ya dear sa enti sa de we Reverend Ntim ye no, it is a deliberate action, it is a deliberate idea oye ohihye on minority bit is Afenwoma akin and no more kika they stood and took that decision. Omo che da ka se omo be de omo be sadin on April Fool's Day. No mo dia blockage that stories any ECG stories no anything around it no omo dia blocking no. And also mo yen so Ghana semba ija that down on ya become no. That is how it is going to the moment amono be end no na ya to na mienu na egu. But let me tell you that ECG in same way. John Mahama, only Abujinapo, energy minister. You people must work very well. You people must let Ghanaian know. Say, Nyama container, fita container na ira. Ghana yisika, and ira sana. Iti mumpe wherever that these containers were no, and I say have been gotten to know. You people should make sure say be providing it back. The MPP for or say they should be arrested, they should be retrieved it back. That is the strategy. A year Rev Ntim Fodjour and then Crawford, a year him, but Enkoyi and for Momo. I wish I mean get the men that was in a me for we see Hanum, a you number one authentic platform, Mega TV. The Mammy Chiba for a United States of America, Mammy and Coupon Shamami, where you be UK and you be Mega TV now. Yakupon Cosway, Shamakro Bibia. Bye bye.